right, the first thing I want to point out is that the goal of creative testing on Facebook ads is to test creative in the most effective way possible to gain learnings, but also not burn money in the process. These 3 steps are going to guide you for any time you make any adjustment in any campaign. There's a question I get very frequently, which is how to properly structure your creative tests. Going to be going over how I do this in the video today. There are multiple ways that you can do this, and it really depends greatly on the bid strategy that you're using. So in today's video, I'm going to go over exactly how I structure Facebook ads creative tests using the highest volume bid strategy. In the near future, I'm going to make a video on how to do this with cost controls like cost caps, bid caps, and ROAS goal, but you'll have to wait on that, so make sure you subscribe. Now, before we get started, I have a free gift for you in the description below. You can download this document that I've created, which has everything I'm going to be going through in this video. You can download it so that you can follow along with me, and I'm going to be showing you what that is right now, and it goes over my systematic process and rules for running creative tests on highest volume. So without further ado, let's jump into it. All right, the first thing I want to point out is that the goal of creative testing on Facebook ads is to test creative in the most effective way possible to gain learnings, but also not burn money in the process. Now, one way to do this is to utilize cost controls so you can set your target CPA, but in this case, we're going to be talking about how to do it on highest volume or lowest cost bid strategy. And it is possible to protect your downside while using this bid strategy. Let me show you how. First, I want to show you what I used to do. Biggest mistake I'd say is to run ABO with really small budgets. ABO being ad set budget optimization. This is where you set the budget at the ad set level. And an old way that people used to run Facebook ads is to force spend into unproven assets on ABO, which means I'm essentially making a large campaign and I'm setting the budget at the ad set level, and I would launch like a bunch of different ad sets with like $50 to $200 budgets. So very minimal spend in each of these little ad sets. Now, the problem here is that you're not giving Facebook the proper budget per ad set, meaning that it doesn't have a chance to exit the learning phase. Now, before going further, I want to be clear, there's no best practice or real way to do this 100% correctly. Everyone's going to do it differently, but there are some concepts and objective truths that make it clear what you should and should not do. Overall, the broad concept I want you to understand is that it's best to let Facebook make decisions for you and whether or not a creative deserves to gain ad spend. I also want to point out that you should never run an interest or lookalike audience ever again. That's a hard stop. There's no reason you should be doing this, and I've got a dozen videos on why. You can check those out on my channel. To that same point, you should only be running broad targeting, which is essentially excluding past purchasers and leaving your targeting open. You should always be using campaign budget optimization, or CBO, which is now known as ACB, or Advantage Campaign Budget Optimization. This lets you set your budget at the campaign level and lets Facebook automatically allocate budget to all of the different ad sets and ads within that campaign. And I also recommend that you run the 7-day click attribution setting, which eliminates view attribution, which can over attribute conversions for your Facebook campaigns. All right, I'm going to give you some background on what highest volume or lowest cost bid strategy actually means. Running highest volume or lowest cost bid strategy, which used to be called auto bid, Facebook is going to spend your full budget every single day while trying to gain you the highest volume of conversions. Now, I'm going to read you some information directly from Facebook. Highest volume is best if you want to spend your entire budget every day, want to get the most results possible for your budget. You don't have a specific cost per acquisition or cost per action being your CPA, or you aren't aiming for specific goals to measure or define success. For example, on 110% return on your ad spend. Now, some other notes that Facebook wants you to keep in mind is that the highest volume bid strategy does not optimize for CPA. You are aiming to get the highest volume of conversions available, but your CPA may fluctuate. So for example, if the auction competition decreases, your costs may go down. And if your auction competition increases, then costs may go up. And this is the danger behind running highest volume. All right, this is what you've been waiting for. Let's get into the testing structure. When testing highest volume bid strategy, you should have one campaign per business objective. One campaign per business objective can also be looked at one campaign per product, SKU, or offer, so that you have a consistent and predictable average order value coming through that campaign, which means you have a specific target CPA and a predictable net outcome that you want for that campaign. This helps you make sure that you're controlling your costs and being able to let Facebook optimize for the outcome that you want. Now you're going to want to start with one ad set with 4 to 6 creatives in it, and each ad set should have a minimum of 3 to 6 ads within it. I also highly recommend using multiple text options on your ads, which means you can put 2 to 3 headlines or primary text on each ad. This is because later you can go and break down the primary text and headlines that gain the most ad spend and the most conversions, and then you can iterate off of those. So Facebook is going to show you which headlines and primary text performed the best. Now, when you have a new batch of creatives to test, you're going to want to drop that into a new ad set within the campaign. And the reason why you do this is because creatives need to earn ad spend. Now, when you drop new creatives into the campaign, Facebook is going to choose whether or not to allocate budget to that new ad set or not. When testing creatives on highest volume, there are only 3 decisions that you ever need to make when dropping new creatives into a campaign. Scenario number 1, if you drop in new creatives and they get ad spend, but the efficiency of your campaign improves, do nothing. Scenario 2, if you drop in new creatives and they gain ad spend, but the efficiency of your campaign decreases, turn off the ad set or launch new ad sets. In scenario 3, if you drop in new creatives and they don't gain ad spend and nothing happens to your CPA, turn them off and launch something else. This makes creative testing extremely simple because you have a controlled, measurable environment and you let Facebook's machine learning make all the decisions for you. And each time that you make changes within a campaign, you should be tracking those adjustments. When implementing this process to make adjustments to your campaign, it's important that you're measuring and optimizing your campaign on a proper time window. This means to stop touching your campaign so much. I recommend that you measure performance on a 4 to 7 day window at the minimum. The reason you want to measure performance on this long time window is because Facebook is optimizing for a 7-day click attribution window. This means that Facebook is literally trying to get you conversions within a 7-day period, and Facebook has delayed attribution or delayed reporting where conversions from a previous day will be realized in platform in the future. So if an ad set does earn ad spend, you really want to be patient and see if the campaign is going to take off and perform really well. And that means waiting at least 4 to 7 days. But if an ad set doesn't get any spend or gets really minimal spend after like 3 or 4 days, you can be pretty confident that you can just go ahead and turn it off or launch something new and see if that new ad set gets ad spend above the other launch. I always tell brands you really want to be aggressive with launching new creatives. If performance is down, you don't want to sit back and wait for Facebook to get through the learning phase where it's magically going to lower your CPA once it eventually gets those 50 conversion events. And that's why this process is awesome, because if you have new ads, launch them within the CBO campaign and let Facebook determine whether or not it deserves to get ad spend or not. Now, like I just said, Facebook needs 50 conversion events to exit the learning phase within 1 week. And Facebook says that once you're through that learning phase, then your CPA is going to stabilize. Now, there is absolutely truth to this, and you should aim to give every ad set and campaign the proper budget that it needs to get through the learning phase. If you're unsure how to set your daily budgets, I have a video on that. I'll put the link in the description. The main thing I want to drive home here is that many media buyers believe that once you're through the learning phase, that everything is going to be easy cruising, but that's not true. If your ads are not getting 50 conversions in a week, that means that they're not good enough to earn those 50 conversions in a week. I believe that your ads need to be good enough to get through the learning phase in that week period, and if they aren't, performance will not magically improve once you get those 50 conversion events. To reiterate this point, you must create ads that are good enough to earn 50 conversions in a week. Don't waste spend on bad ads that are unable to get you results and think that performance will magically improve once it exits the learning phase. Instead of waiting, launch something new and see if that gains ad spend and can propel you through the learning phase. Before wrapping up the video, I have a few more recommendations that you can test out. My first suggestion is to take the post ID of your best performing or winning ad creative within the new ad sets that you've launched and then graduate them into the core scaling ad set. So for example, I have this campaign right here and I have 2 ad sets within it. This one ad set can be considered the control campaign, which is likely going to be getting the bulk of the spend. And then I have a new ad set that I've launched. Now imagine that this new ad set, one of these creatives has performed the best. What I'll do is I'll press preview I'll press share, and then there will be a drop down here that says Facebook post with comments. You can click that and then get the string of code that's after p/, and I'll put an example of that on the screen. You can copy that into your top control campaign and then come down to the ad setup section, press create ad, and then press use existing post. Once you enter your post ID and press the check mark, it's going to take that exact same ad and it's going to replicate it into that new ad set while retaining social proof being likes, comments, and any sort of reactions to your post. Now you may be saying, won't that reset the learning phase? Isn't that going to screw up everything? Yes, there are some risks to doing this, and it may seem counterintuitive because it could affect the environment of your top spending ad set. But the rationale here is that you want to essentially make room for new creative launches. Eventually, if you have 3 top performing ad sets and you want to test some more creatives, you can of course break it out into a new campaign, but then that's the same issue that I talked about while running ABOs in the past, which is that you're forcing ad spend into unproven assets. In theory, proven top performing ads should only improve the stability of your top spending ad set's CPA over time. So graduating a really strong ad into your top spending ad set should help force some more spend into it and help it improve the overall ad set environment of that top spending campaign. Yes, this could reset the learning phase, but it's better to actually act against creative fatigue instead of being scared to reset learnings. And if you're scared to test this because of the learning phase, I want to point you back to the 3 scenarios for testing new creatives on highest volume. These 3 steps are going to guide you for any time you make any adjustment in any campaign. But when you graduate that top performing ad into your top spending ad set, you can make these exact same 3 decisions on a 4 to 7 or 7 to 10 day window. Once you drop the new ad creative in, does it gain spend? Okay, if it does the efficiency of your campaign improve? Okay, awesome, do nothing. If you drop in that new ad creative and it gains spend, but the efficiency of your campaign decreases, then you can just turn it off. And a common question I get is, if I graduate a top performing ad from another ad set into the top ad set, should I turn off that old ad? And the answer here is it kind of depends. I would leave it on as long as performance is good. But like I said, the goal here is really to consolidate your ad spend and make room for new creative tests. One more thing before we wrap up the video, I wanted to touch on Advantage Plus shopping campaigns. If you're running Advantage Plus shopping campaigns in your ad account, you can absolutely use this exact same strategy. It's just different because if you know, Advantage Plus shopping campaigns only have 1 ad set and you have to load all of the ads into that 1 ad set. And because of this consolidated campaign structure, the only option is just to simply drop your new ads directly into the ASC or Advantage Plus shopping campaign. And although it's not in a separate ad set, there's really no difference between launching new ads and a new ad set because your campaign budget is still set and going to allocate spend between a bunch of different ads. Now, whether or not it's in one giant ad set or whether or not it's in a new ad set, there's not that much of a difference. Of course, there are some nuances between ASC and business as usual campaigns that are apparent. And when launching ads straight into an Advantage Plus shopping campaign, just remember the 3 same golden rules. The ad gets spend and efficiency improves, do nothing. If the ad gets spend and efficiency gets worse, do something, turn off an ad set or launch a new ad set. And if the ads don't get spend at all, do nothing, turn off the ad set or launch a new ad set. That's it for this video. Thanks so much for watching. Again, you can download the free version of this template in the description below. I hope that you found this video valuable, and feel free to subscribe for new videos like this every week. It really helps me out so I can continue to provide you with free value. Hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.